This episode of the ABIC podcast is brought to you by the Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council. Hello and welcome to the ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we're strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is the ABIC podcast. What if the power of touch could transform lives? Not just soothe muscles, but offer healing and hope to those facing cancer. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller, and today we explore the profound impact of oncology massage with two trailblazers in the field. Tanya Shaw, Managing Director of Oncology Massage Training Limited, began her career in retail before answering a deeper calling, developing rehabilitative massage therapies for cancer patients. With over 15 years of leadership, education and advocacy, she now leads OMT's expansion across Australia, New Zealand and Sri Lanka, empowering therapists to deliver life-changing care. Joining her is Tracy Mead, founder of Refresh Body Therapies in Toowoomba and one of the first industry professionals to join ABIC when it was launched. With a background spanning pharmaceuticals, dermal aesthetics, and advanced skin science, Tracy discovered her passion for oncology massage after a single client's need for safe, comforting touch changed her perspective forever. Together, they're here to share the science, the soul, and the significance of integrating oncology massage into your modern practice. Welcome to the podcast, ladies. It is such a pleasure to have you both here today for such a meaningful and special discussion. And of course, it means so much to all of us as well, because as therapists, we know the healing power of touch inherently. And today we're here to talk about something that we can do and learn about to help people. So, Tracy, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be in the beauty and aesthetic industry.
So I actually joined straight after school. So, it's been well over 30 something years now that I've been in the industry. I did have a fairly big break when I went and did a number of years as a rep for pharmaceutical companies, detailing doctors. So I actually did a partial pharmaceutical degree as well. And then after having children, decided to get back into something and look at something a little bit different and opened a clinic here in Toowoomba. And since then, I have sold that clinic that had quite a lot of staff, and I'm a sole trader now.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And it's brought you to another journey as well, I hear.
Well, it did, because when I sold my large clinic, I had a couple of years that I couldn't work in the same industry. So I diversified a little bit, and that was brought about by a client that came in towards the, just as I was finishing, who had cancer and had told me that she really missed being massaged. And the training I had at the time, although I reskilled and did a huge amount of training on IPLs and just all the new technology that had come out in that time that I'd been away, I didn't quite know what to do with her. I'm a Circ 4 massage therapist, so I'm not a remedial therapist. I do hot stones and quite a number of modalities in massage. And I thought, well, that can't be right. I needed to look into something there, and found oncology massage training in Australia and started, doing a number of their courses. And at the same time, Hope Horizons Cancer Wellness Centre in Toowoomba was about to open, which was 7 years ago, and I became one of their first staff members there.
Oh, wonderful. What a great journey. And Tanya, your journeys collide in the end, don't they? Tell us about how you came into the beauty and aesthetics industry.
Yes, Tracy was my first awareness of what it means to train a beauty therapist in oncology massage, because it was in Tracy's inquiring mind that brought her to our training and greatly informed me as to where our massage therapy and the beauty therapy was complementary to each other there. So that's how I've come to have more awareness around the beauty industry.
And tell us about your journey in what you have now developed.
Previous background in retail, sales management, that sort of thing. And then I decided to become I decided to become a massage therapist because I wanted to work with people on a different level. And that seemed to be the way to go. And then I volunteered at Bloom Hill Cancer Care, which is a wellness centre, cancer help centre here on the Sunshine Coast. And I realised that I needed more information, just like Tracy, and it was an interesting process of going through those early trainings and developing it from the ground up, basically. So I worked quite closely with the founder of Oncology Massage Limited, as it was then, and with a team of people around us, we expanded the program, brought in speakers from overseas, and it enabled us to learn so much from other people's experience. And so now that we share that with other therapists.
No, that's beautiful. And obviously we're talking about oncology massage today, and we're talking about the physical touch, and we're talking about helping people through a very difficult, part of their lives. Can you please explain to us, for people that are listening and are really interested here, what is oncology massage in general, and also from a clinical perspective?
That's a good question. And we get asked that quite often because people do want to know what oncology massage is and what it entails and why it's so different to any other massage that there is around. From a foundational point of view, it's an adaptation of remedial massage. And what we do is we adapt our touch, we adapt our direction of strokes, we adapt our pressure and time for that. And that's all completely dependent upon what the client is telling us that they're currently experiencing.
So it's highly specialized, I would say.
It is, for instance, just taking that group of 12 therapists through the living room at the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse over the weekend, we've moved on to e-learning. So we have that combination of e-learning and in person, because we wholeheartedly believe in that power of touch, and we know that we can't possibly impart that without seeing people face to face.
Yeah, I'll just add, you need to feel it to understand it. It is so powerful. And I think a lot of people, when they see the curriculum or see the training, you just think, you get that sort of feeling from them. But once they've experienced it, because we practice on each other as well, but I couldn't say more strongly, go and get one. Because it is a very, very different outcome to any other massage I've ever had. And the feedback I get from clients, and not only cancer clients, but other clients, because I use it all the time. I use some of these skills all the time. It is very interesting what, the comments on the type of style of massage I do.
Right, so it's you call it oncology massage, but what I'm hearing is healing massage.
Well, I actually call it restorative.
Restorative.
So I have a treatment menu for oncology, which will detail the benefits to a cancer client. And then in my regular treatment menu, I have restorative massage. Now, I have, we're an aging population. I have a number of much older clients that don't have a lot of touch. And they're not just going to rock up to any massage clinic out there, and they're popping up in shopping centres, as we know, everywhere, because they're afraid of getting hurt. Whereas I'll put them into a beautiful deep sleep, and I'm actually, I'm not working on muscles. So I just highly recommend go and experience one. And I certainly recommend to anyone to do the oncology massage training #1 course, because you're going to understand a lot more about cancer.
And
Yeah.
so you're talking about it, that it is different, it is a different experience. Can you give us some of the key highlights of how is it different to a normal massage? What can we expect to feel?
So a restorative touch massage, it's hard to explain exactly the techniques, but we're fascia based. So we're moving that fascia under the skin. So most massages we're getting quite in deep, and you can see the movement on the skin. So it's hard to show on here. But we're actually pulling up. So we're moving the skin, or we're moving the jelly under the skin, and we're doing it in a directional way. So, sometimes we're not going up and down, we're just going in one direction. And I suppose if I'm trying to explain it to someone, if you've ever been on the beach and you've seen one of those fishing nets and it's all, crumpled up and dry, and then you hold that fishing net under the water and you throw it out and you see it all spread. And then it's all spread beautifully. You just give it a little bit of a pull and you'll see it pull in all different little directions very gently. Don't have to heave it up. That's similar to the way it affects the body. So yeah, I might be working on the arm, but we're getting that fascia movement all over the body, and it's very gentle. So people relax really deeply, and it feels great. So relaxing.
And I hear that the fascia is such an integral part of how we feel, because that's what's keeping your muscle and everything in place. Right? If that's knotted up and feeling very tight and uncomfortable, a lot of pain that's mystery type pain that nobody really knows what's happening is actually related to the fascia.
Exactly. And there's a number of things that we learn in holds. So if you get someone that's really fatigued or unwell or elderly, or it could be cancer, it could be something that's making someone feel unwell. The treatments are very gentle, but some of the things you can actually do, and I use them in my facials, is why I've got a mask on, is I'll actually just do a real nice gentle hold here. Just pull very lightly on the fascia and hold it for up to a minute. Just nicely. It's a very warm feeling. Someone can feel my touch, and I've just got this slight pull, and then I slowly let it back down and then release, and they just for me. It's beautiful.
The feeling of sinking in that deep relaxation that you wouldn't feel
And
without
there's a
some
number of
pain.
parts of the body where it's perfect for, isn't it, Tanya? And that's what we get shown how to do. Someone's got lower back pain, where you can do a nice stretch on the hips. So I actually use it in all my services all the time. It's great training.
That's incredible. And what do you see happening with your patients afterwards, with your clients afterwards? So they come in, they need that restorative healing touch. You're doing this incredible new, different type of technique on them, not a traditional, massage session. What results do you see? How do you see them transform immediately, and then the long-term benefits?
Well, they definitely rebook. So, and word of mouth. I mean, just as an example, I mentioned before Hope Horizons, we now have 7 oncology massage therapists working out of Hope Horizons, all trained through Oncology Massage Australia. And when I started, it was a little bit like hitting, we're knocking on the door trying to explain. And we're going to the top and explaining to specialists and doctors. But in the end, we realised it was much better to tell the clients and get their feedback. And we have full support up here. There is not a day that Hope Horizons doesn't have around 15 clients a day. And we could certainly do more than that. And the other oncology massage therapists in Toowoomba, we're all really quite booked. I have a skin clinic and some other responsibilities, so I limit mine to a couple of times a week there, and it's paid work. It's not free or volunteered, and very exciting. I don't think you know, Tanya, but we've just signed a contract with St Andrew's Private Hospital up here, so we will be putting one in there. So it's all, this is something that is evolving very much in Australia. I get NDIS clients now. So I've got a couple of people with dementia. That is a huge part of it, that they benefit from it. I've got a huge amount of elderly people, a couple in their 90s, people that are in frail health, but they don't get that touch. And this is a really, really nice massage to be able to offer. And it's a privilege to be able to do it.
How wonderful is that? That's beautifully said. And Tanya, in your experience, what are the results like from this type of massage?
And that's another big question too, because I want to go back to the e-learning that I was going to talk about earlier, because, you know, in that offering oncology massage, which is quite different to the remedial or the relaxation, because you're coming from an educated standpoint. And it's we talk about the side effects of treatment for cancer and that and how we adapt our touch. So, you know, in addition to what Tracy was saying about those just working quite closely with the fascia, you know, we are aware of other things that's going on in the body as well, which is the fight or flight reflex. And the response that we want to elicit is that relaxation response. And people quite often say to us that their mind chatter has reduced, you know, and so they're able to have a really good conversation with their loved one or their families afterwards, or they can really hear what somebody's talking to them about, particularly if they're going into a session with their oncologist and they need to be present in the room. Because as you can imagine, when you're living in the fight or flight, then there can be that mix of emotions that's on constant rotation and coming out the end of an oncology massage, which does alleviate some of their discomfort, some of their pain. It might encourage their appetite or their thirst, so they may not have eaten, you know, like a good meal for several days due to nausea. This can help settle them, and so their appetite may increase, and they can eat some nutritional food that they could have lost taste for. You know, so there's it's quite a diverse reaction or response that we get from people, and range of movement difficulties. My work is quite rehabilitative, and I work a lot with people during the course of their treatment, and then in particularly in their treatment phase, when the ongoing effects of treatment for cancer is still building or still present in the body there. And so, and they find that they get their fatigue is lifted for a short period of time whilst they're recovering their health. It's you know, it's not a long-term effect, but it is an accumulative effect. So with repetition, the body learns to adjust and accept that touch, and it holds on to it.
The Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council is Australia's peak industry body, representing the collective professional beauty and aesthetic, salon, clinic and spa community. Created for the industry, by the industry, our council is a collaboration of industry leaders who bring their commitment and specialised skills to raise industry standards, guide regulation and be a strong voice to government. At ABIC, our purpose is to provide an accessible and supportive organisation for the betterment of the professional beauty and aesthetic field, to enhance working practices and promote unity across the various sectors of the industry. ABIC's mission also includes being a trusted source of referral, education and guidance for clients of the beauty and aesthetic profession. ABIC is here to support our members through an extensive offering, including hundreds of valuable resources, HR support and industry expert facilitators to ensure your continued growth and success. Join us today and together let's safeguard the future of the beauty and aesthetic industry. Find us at www.theabic.org.au. At ABIC, we are here for you. There's lots to talk about. We are going to circle back to the training because I know lots of people that are listening right now are thinking, right, this sounds like something I'm really interested in. I want to explore it. But before we do, a little bit more about the actual treatment itself. So this treatment itself falls into the integrative medicine framework, is what you told me before we came onto the podcast, which is exciting and interesting. A little bit more, a little touch on what you talked about just earlier, which the massage itself calms the fight or flight response, which is extremely important because when someone's in that state, they've got a heightened level of cortisol running through their body, they've got heightened stress hormones, and of course we know in our own therapy that those types of hormones raise your inflammation markers. We know also that cancer has a very strong link to inflammation, and healing is part of healing. The journey is controlling inflammation in the body, and you can do that through diet, you can do that through lifestyle supplementation, but now exercise and so forth. There's a whole range of things you can do to lower inflammation levels in your body, and this and mindfulness and the mind body connection is one of them. And this to me is such a an eye-opening conversation, because it really is you assisting the person to help calm that hormonal, that fight or flight inflammatory response using your hands and using touch. This is a very special thing that you both do.
And it's the environment as well, you know, and I know beauty therapists create a beautiful environment. Therapists all over generally do, unless they're in a more sports-oriented facility, whereas those of us that work in this area tend to have the calmer lights, the calmer music, and a quieter approach. And it all begins with the therapist, with the welcome. And you know that, you know, I'm sure your therapists do that quite well, quite beautifully. So it's just that ongoing effect of peace from when
Yes.
I first meet you. Yes.
And I love that you said you kind of done consistently, it will retrain that stress response to maybe not be so acute and not be so chronic. And you're part of integrative medicine. What other parts of integrative medicines are there, and who do you work with?
At the Sunshine Coast Hematology and Oncology Clinic, I work with a clinical psychologist as well as an exercise physiologist and a dietitian, and they're all specialised in cancer care and oncology care. So their specific interest is in providing a pathway for those people to achieve the best health outcome that they possibly can. And it's all evidence-based. So there's ways of doing it. There's foods, there's exercise programs that are there to assist the individual person to achieve their goal of continuing their treatment in the best health that they possibly can. So I love that. I love being a part of all of that. And around the country, we've got the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse. We've also got the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Research and Wellness Centre. There's Peter Mac. There's the Bendigo Health Care System. They have integrative approaches to the care of their oncology clients, because they know that, you know, that holistic effect that you talked about before, that mind-body connection, it is so important to foster that, to facilitate that for the person undergoing treatment for cancer.
And it's so wonderful that they're understanding that now, because we went through a time period in the past where integrative medicine, or the holistic or more global approach to healthcare, rather than just let's pop a pill for this particular ailment that we have, which is still in some cases a valid approach, but this whole body kind of movement is based in science. We know that now, and there's so much data, and there's so many research papers on the fact that this is actually real science and it does work. And do you have any kind of comments on the evolution over the past 10 to 20 years that you've seen in this space and the credibility it's gained?
It's been a hard road, I must say. And I should mention too that the doctors and the nurses are an integral part of that integrative wellness scene as well, because without them, we just don't work as a whole. It's a very supportive atmosphere, but going back to where we started to where we are now, thankfully, there's far more acceptance And we have major medical facilities contacting us to ask, do you have trained massage therapists in the area that we can refer to, or we've got a position opening up. We would like to have a trained oncology massage therapist on staff, and I have seen the growth in it from the early days when I was part of the first group to go through hospital training at the Sydney Adventist Hospital. I think that was about 2006, maybe a little bit earlier than that. So we have seen over the years there a gradual growth in that acceptance. The GPs in the community clinics, the oncologists, the surgeons, the rad-onc nurses, all of those people want to know a little bit more about it because they know now that there's specifics in the treatment for cancer that we as massage therapists can provide some assistance in that recovery stage there, so that they get the best outcome that they possibly can for their patients. And and as Trace said just a little bit earlier there about the conversations that you have, the patients and the clients, they're the best people to go and talk to their medical people, because they can say firsthand how it actually feels. And because the holistic approach to the wellness of people now is far more accepted than what it was then. Because, we'd talk about mindfulness 15 years ago and it was a bit of a, ooh, that's a bit of worse stuff happening there. We're going to give that a wide berth. But that doesn't happen anymore.
Thank goodness for the researchers in so many universities across the world, in Harvard included, and there's so many out there that have done some really great validating research so that we know for real that these actually do help. Tracy, a question for you. I mean, obviously the therapists listening and the estheticians, even the nurses, and from a medical cosmetic standpoint, listening to you and admiring, looking up to you, what you've been able to achieve and how you've integrated so many different facets into your practice. And it's so multifaceted, and it sounds like you're really, treating people on a deeper level. We treat skin all the time, and then we see these wonderful patients and they have these health concerns, and we really want to do more for them because we are in such a close, intimate situation with them, where we are giving them massage and we are touching their skin and we are, listening to them. First of all, how pertinent is it to really get yourself aware about this? I mean, I hear cancer rates are going up, and maybe Tanya can talk about that as well. But if you're a therapist and they're listening to you right now, where do they start? How would they even think about integrating this into their business? And should they, should we be looking at doing something like that because of what's happening out there in terms of cancer rates increasing so much?
I'm going to actually ask the question back to the community out there listening. But basically, I would assume that virtually all of us will do an intake form when you have a new client. And generally on those intake forms that we have a look, and we've done a few different ones over the past, particularly ones that come from the associations and the association, the massage associations. There's also, there's a cancer box. So when someone ticks that, how do you react? What does that mean to you? Or I know that I have seen in the past and before this training, someone that's come in and they've got the little markers, radiation markers, or if someone comes in and they're missing a breast and you haven't discussed cancer with them, do you know how to safely treat them? Because if they've had a breast removed, there is a risk of lymphedema in the upper arm and over the décolletage, which we touch, and head work. So are they telling you, or are they afraid? Because we were talking about the rates before, and I said, 1 in 4. And Tanya's going, oh, actually, I've just seen some statistics. It's actually 1 in 2. Where are these clients going? If you're not aware of how many patients you've got. So when we hear the word cancer, we think of someone really sick. We're not thinking of the people that are in survivorship or have had had some sort of occurrence of cancer in their life. So when they're coming in and you're treating them, do you know what to do? Are you safe hands for them? Or, you know, you're just going to do your general routine. So this is where we, as you know, I hope to see something stepped up in our training to touch on that. And certainly the training that Oncology Massage Australia is doing is that their first course really is something that I think we all should do, be it facials, massage, anything, because we do need to understand a bit about cancer. I guarantee you are treating people that are in survivorship.
That is so impactful. And I love the fact that you asked the question back, because it really makes me even think, what do we do? What is our protocol? How do we approach this? And we really should get responsible, because you're right. There is, Tanya, you said 1 in 2 people are going to have cancer. That's half of our clients, right?
Yeah. You know, you look around the room that you're in, and, you know, if you're at a party or something, you know that there's one of those people there, at least one is going to have a diagnosis at some stage.
That is huge. That's staggering, actually. I mean, we could talk to the cows come home about why this is increasing, where there's so much awareness about, you know, how to live a healthy lifestyle, and how to, you know, wear sunscreen and do all the things that we need to do to protect ourselves, and yet the rates are increasing, and even more so why we should now start to think about how do we incorporate this into the practice.
Yeah.
Where do you
So I
start?
also think, sorry, I just, there is so many beauty therapists out there that, you know, they could be on maternity leave and only want to work a day or so a week. You know, there is work coming up in hospitals. There's NDIS work. There's work in nursing homes. There's work in hospice if you wanted to even look at end-of-life massage, which is not something I ever thought I'd have any interest in. But we had a situation here with the hospice where I went in to show them the benefits of it, and they've now employed someone so that families and that come and go, I don't know what to do for this person that's in here. They can actually get them a massage, and we've got someone very busy in the hospice up here. And it's just so beautiful that when you've got someone that's quite scared and very unwell, to actually see them relax. So there is just so much work out there. We really need more therapists and more people saying that that is available. So
Such a beautiful and meaningful thing. You know, I think now that we've started talking about it through ABIC, I think the message is going to ring loud and clear to our members, because I'm now very interested and extremely passionate about this. I think it's very important. And we're talking not just about cancer, we're talking about restorative, as you said, massage. And, you know, many of the listeners will know my sister actually has MS, and she has gone through 20 years of being in chronic pain. And we don't even know why. We don't know what the pain is caused by. She does see, you know, her osteopath and so forth, and she has massages, but sometimes you'll come back feeling a bit rough after a massage, and you know, you're a heightened inflammation, you're a heightened fight or flight, and the last thing you want is to get, you know, your really strong type, deep type massage. And I think I'm going to explore this for her as well. And I think when you said try it yourself, I think everyone should go and have a session of restorative massage. I will look into it. If you're listening now, I'll look into it and see whereabouts all over the country. We can send out maybe a little email about these are the places you can go and visit. And definitely, if somebody's thinking about, every clinic should have at least one therapist that is trained in this. Where do they start their journey? So obviously Oncology Massage, you can give, you know, you guys a call. How do they start this journey?
Okay, hop on our website, oncologymassagetraining.com.au. It's a lovely website. We just love it. You can go to the top tabs there, and it'll give you the courses that you can attend. We've got a foundation program. We've also got an advanced program for those people who wanted to work into the larger medical centres or the health institutes. But module one is a phenomenal body of knowledge.
Right.
With the e-learning, we've got 8 units in the e-learning, and in that we talk about oncogenesis. So we talk about the formation of a tumour. We discuss pressure, site, position, duration, and that informs the therapist of, this, and this, numerous points on what to look out for and how to adapt their massage plan to suit somebody going through any stage of cancer treatment or post cancer.
Wow.
There. Yeah. So anybody can attend our module 1, and we've made it that way because we want everybody to be educated. We want everybody to know how to work effectively and safely with the people that they love or the people that they're serving, or their clients or patients. And we found that that's the best way to get started. And we have certain prerequisites for people who want to go on and complete the foundation program with module 2 and then move on to the advanced. But we have opened up that module 1 so that the knowledge can be out there.
We've got Find a Therapist on that website, so you can have a look who your local therapists are. I'm pretty sure we've been working very hard to get that updated of people that are still practicing, but as far as I'm concerned, we need to double that, and we need more beauty therapists there, for sure.
We've just had one on the Sydney course.
Yeah, and I don't want people to be
Gorgeous
afraid that
watch.
oh gee, I'm going to have someone coming that's so sick. The people that are really sick aren't going to come into the general clinic. They're going to be treated in more of a medical centre or a hospital. There's all different levels for what you may want to do as well. But generally, you're going to get the people in survivorship or people that are coping quite well with their cancer into most clinics. If you get somebody that is not someone that you're comfortable with, you let them know that I haven't done the training that I think is relevant for you. Let's find someone that is appropriate.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. Sounds like you've made it so easy for everyone to really even start to just learn with your module 1 and see if it's something of interest to pursue and go further. I'm going to be definitely checking that out as well. But I'd want to thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. What you do is so meaningful. It really does provide solace, support, and just this genuine feeling of care beyond what the traditional medical framework can offer, and I think that's really important and extremely special. So thank you so much, ladies.
Steph,
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk about the passion that we have for oncology massage. It's been a pleasure to speaking with you both. Thank you.
It really has been a pleasure as well. Thank you very much, and bye everyone. Thanks for listening. You've reached the end of another episode of the ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.